August 31st, 2007, local drug agents shut down a major Madison County drug trafficking ring, seizing nearly $1 million worth of cocaine and cash, according to a news release from the Madison-Morgan County Strategic Counter-Drug Team. The man at the top of the food chain was Maurice Russell. Yeah! Welcome to Trap Tales. First episode, starring Maurice Russell. The G's Country Kitchen Story.
These are the tales, my project tales. These are the tales that I tell so well. You don't like my ish, you can go there. Yeah, trap tales is on the mic telling trap tales. Hey, I know the young.
January 5th, 1962, Ellie and Rosie Lee Russell gave birth to a baby boy they named Maurice. He grew up in Northwood Projects, which was known as the roughest neighborhood, the roughest projects in Huntsville, Alabama. He went on to establish one of the most successful restaurants in the city of Huntsville and has been there for 26 years. Everybody and their mama has been to G's Country Kitchen, and I mean everybody. From Lil Boosie to Cedric the Entertainer to even Trayvon Martin's father. While running G's Country Kitchen, Maurice Russell also ran a multi-million-dollar drug operation, which he was able to keep under the radar because of his job at the Huntsville Housing Authority. That was until August 31st, 2007, a day that he'll never forget.
Everything in life is predestined.
Yeah.
Okay? Everything in life is predestined. We always talk about God did this and see how you like. God knew how you was going to act before it even happened. He made you.
Yeah.
If he's so intimate with you that he know how many hairs on your head, best believe when a situation around, he know how you going to act. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
What it was he had to set me down for 5 years to get to know me better. Okay?
Yeah.
To come out, and I would say, and the people that are around me that knew me prior to me going to jail versus me coming back home from prison, say I'm a whole different man.
Yeah.
So before I sat down with Maurice, I sat down with his kids. I wanted to get their perspective on what happened in 2007, since they were there.
All right, for the people, go ahead and tell them your name.
Marquita Russell.
Okay, Marquita Russell. And what's your relation to Maurice?
That's my father.
And the day I'm talking about is, the day that Maurice ended up getting arrested. Like, do you remember anything, like, just that day specifically?
I remember it vividly.
Hey, alright, so just start wherever you want to start and just give me a rundown of how everything you felt.
I had just left from G's. At the time, I lived with my parents. I was headed to the house. One of my friends, who I've been friends with 15, 20 years, he called me. He said, everything all right? I'm like, yeah, why? He like, it's something going on. So I'm like, okay. He gone on to tell me what to break the news on the phone. At the time, I'm headed down, actually on Pulaski, headed to my mama's house.
So
I had just left here.
So how did he know?
They were already at my mama's house.
Okay.
I was leaving here,
Yeah.
headed to my mama's house.
Okay.
And I had came down Pulaski when he called me. And as soon as he called me, I kind of was like at the Pulaski and Sparkle part, turned on Sparkle.
Yeah.
Going down to where my parents stayed.
Okay.
As soon as I get ready to come down the hill, I could see all the lights.
Damn. And so,
I kept pushing.
alright, bro. So what's your name, brother?
Maurice Russell.
Okay. And what's your relation to Maurice?
I'm his grandson and his son/son.
Alright, yeah, for sure. Alright, so let me ask you something, and we just gonna go like to that day, man, because we've been talking about, what happened back in '07. Like, do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I was
how old
7
were
years
you?
old. I was 7 years old. I remember everything that happened that day.
That is crazy, man.
Like, I got a mind like he'll tell you. He remember everything to that day.
Man, can you basically just run it down to me?
So I remember.
Yeah, just tell me whatever you remember.
I was in my room. I was playing with you feel me, my little Nerf guns. I'm a big fan of guns, so I had everything, BB gun, Nerf gun, everything.
For sure.
So my mama was in her room. She was half asleep. You feel me? At this time, we ran G's a little different, so we used to come down here and get the money when we lock up.
Okay.
Now, we get up, I tell my mama, like, I end up shooting her. Nerf was in her room, I end up telling her, but I'm seeing flashlights outside at the same time, and I look outside. They can't see me, but I can see them.
Yeah.
And I tell her mama the police outside. She think it's a game.
Oh, man.
She thought it was a real deal game.
Yeah.
And about 20 minutes later, she get up. We going to get the money from G's. We jump in that car, that BMW. That's what she got my dad had there for so long.
Yeah.
We jump in there. We finna pull out our driveway. We didn't get into our driveway for so many unmarked cars pulled up on us. And at this time, my asthma was bad.
Yeah.
So when they pulled up on us, they drawing guns, everything, the guns drawn. I'm breathing heavy. And my mama told the police officer, y'all can shoot me, goddamn it, but my son having an asthma attack.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you,
She finna make sure you
she's
straight.
So
For sure.
she do her thing. They get us back in the house. Whatever, we sitting there for hours. We sitting there for hours. They tearing up the whole house. They ain't running up the whole house. And I had been calling my daddy that day, like, I've been calling him because he never left the house now. That's my right hand man.
Yeah.
And he told me he was coming back to get me. I called him out work.
Yeah.
I ended up. When that happened, I figured they had him somewhere else.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't lost as a child because me and him sat up and watched so many police shows and everything. So I kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So after that, they ran through the house, boom, boom. They ended up taking my mama to jail. My dad's brother, Anthony.
And you remembering all this.
Yes.
That's crazy.
His older brother, he came to the house, you feel me, got me, they asking him what's the relationship to the family. I'm just coming to check on my brother and his wife, and my sister-in-law. So, and my nephew, feel me, he cussing them out. They broke him in the Madison County for disorderly conduct. My auntie Chanel, the woman that he was married to at the time, she take me with her. We go get my uncle out of jail, and I spend the night at their house.
So now that we have the kid's perspective, it's time to hear about that day from the horse's mouth. But before that, I wanted to get a little background info on how he started selling drugs.
I was doing it their way, trying to do everything the right way by working. And the money was short, you know what I'm saying? So I started working a little part-time job at night. I would get off at the housing authority. I go in from 8 to 4:30. I get off at the housing authority. I go work out here at this other place, man. For
You work 2 jobs at this point.
Yeah.
Man.
But the money was still short.
Yeah.
So the environment I'm in, I'm seeing other people out here hustling, selling weed, this, that, and other. So I started selling weed.
Yeah.
And it was going pretty good, but the profit margin wasn't that great.
Yeah.
So I had a cousin, man, that had come down from New York, and I guess some of my other relatives had told him, man, he a hustler, he doing his thing, this, that, and other. So my cousin came down, he had 12 ounces of cocaine.
Yeah.
Powder.
12 ounces.
So he was just like, hey, cuz, I said, man, let me put this on you. This is the price, and I'll be back a couple days to see you. I'm like, man, I can't do it. I can't do that, man. I said, weed.
Yeah.
So my wife was like, man, the way you hustle, you can do it. You do it. And I took it. And the first day I took it, it kind of like shot off.
Yeah.
So now the profit margin is better in this line, you know what I'm saying?
Way better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm real persistent about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be Al Pacino, but I don't want to be at the bottom. I want to make this thing happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm networking with different people, man, and meet different plugs and this, that, and other. So finally I get to the point to where, hey, for Huntsville, they say I was the man.
Yeah.
I never said that.
Right. But shit, hey, what you got caught with and all that shit, hey, that's the man status type shit. Yeah. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
So people, I remember, man. This is a day will forever be in my life, man. I tell people this all day long, man. Never ask God for something that you're not ready for.
For sure.
Because He'll give you the desires of your heart. And I remember, man, April of 2007, man, I had got on my knees, man, several nights, and I was telling God, man, you have given me more than I could ever ask for with wealth, man. You know what I'm saying? You have given me more than I could ask for. I no longer want to live this life, man. I want you to dry my plug up. I don't want to do it no more, man. I want it to be over with. I don't never want my life to be an open book to the public. I want people to always guesstimate about what I did to get to where I'm at. Well, that was in April. Immediately after I said this, he dried it up, man. He dried my connection up. The dude I was dealing with, man, out of Georgia, he dried it up. But I had some more cats that I was bumping around with every once in a while out of Birmingham. The quality was just so much less than the dude I was dealing with out of Georgia. So me and the dude from Georgia had such a relationship. I tell people, even in this business, in the business I don't do one night stand. I do relationships. For sure. Relationship lasts a whole lot longer. So me and my dude from Georgia, we had built a relationship, and it was to the point when he would come into town. He had a car, had the traps in it where he could bring large amounts of stuff to me. So I had a spot out here, man, in the country, so he had a key. He didn't have to come all the way into the city because he got a Georgia tag. These boys tripping. I don't want you to get messed up on my behalf. So I gave him a key. So anytime he would come to town, he'll go out there and he'll tell me, hey man, I got this. So all I would tell him, take the clothes off. Well, taking the clothes off would mean unwrap it. So when I get out there, you come get you meet me, you get your cheese, you get your bag. And I trust you enough to where I go check it later on, it's there. So that's the way we had built this relationship. So like I say, when I had asked God to eliminate all this from me in April, he had no drugs from April to August. Me and these dudes from Birmingham, we going back and forth, they call me, tell me, ask me about certain people down here. Me being greedy, I'm like, hey man, you ain't gotta worry about whoever you talking about. Everything you got, I want. That was on a Saturday. That following Thursday when I got my head knocked off. But I'm gonna show you how God works. We was down here that Thursday evening, I'll never will forget, it was about closing time. We was down here. And there's a few people in here. But that hill that's right there, man, that hill that's right there. For whatever reason, God had told me, he said, hey man, when you leave here that night, go up that hill. There's somebody sitting there watching you. Go up there and identify who that is. Well, God said go left. The devil told me to go right. The devil like, man, don't worry about who up on that hill. And you gotta understand, I had been in the game so long that I never had an incident to where the police pulled me over for nothing. I didn't fit the drug dealer's description. For sure. You know what I'm saying? I didn't fit that. I went out here flashing, and the game, the old man told me a long time ago, hey man, the game is to be sold and not told. So I live by that code. So had I went up that hill that night and probably identified that who it was, it might have changed my whole life, that I might have not got busted that night. I went with the devil and went right. So when I went right, this dude had been calling my boy that worked down here all day long, wanting 9 piece. Nothing ever happened. So when I go right that night, I go home, I take my wife to receipts and everything. So I go to my little cubby hole, man. My little stash house. And when I get to the corner of Winchester and the Parkway, man, my mind told me to make a right. I had a nail appointment because me and my wife were going out of town that weekend. It was almost Labor Day. So we was gonna go to Chattanooga, kick it for a day or so, and we was gonna go to Nashville and kick it with our first cousin in. But when I got to the corner of Winchester and the Parkway, instead of me making that right like God told me to. So you know, most of you just come in, you pull in, you park around the back. That's where it was. But this particular day, I bag in, like I normally do. I bag in. So I see a Tahoe come down to the end of the street, and when we lock eyes, they heard of the burnout. So it was two things on my mind: either these some jack boys or this the police. So I said to myself, I said, well, all I got, man, I'm finna bag this up, take it with me, call somebody later on to get it. So I wound up taking everything I had. I went to the nail shop and get my nails done. I probably had been sitting in the nail shop, man, about 45 minutes, man. Everything good. One of my partners, whose wife had a shop at the end of the building, he come through. So he see me, he throw up the deuces, I throw up the deuces. And he parked down there, and I guess go holler at the wife. He come back down there where I was. We sitting there chopping it up. About 5 minutes after he come in, I see vehicles pull up, lights pointing, lights shining in there, they jump out, was gone. My first mindset was, being that we were so close to the county jail, somebody broke out. They gonna clear it up right quick and be gone. So when they come in, you know, they tell everybody to get on the ground. So the owner was like, y'all got a warrant? He's like, get on the ground. We'll explain it to you later.
Yeah.
I got an ounce of powder in my pocket. They come over there and they put everybody, like I say, in handcuffs. Then they started explaining, hey, this is a drug investigation, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. So he picked me up off the ground. He go in my pocket. He find an ounce of powder. So he takes me in the bathroom. He said, listen, man, you want to help yourself? I said, help myself how? He said, tell me where this comes from. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So I got the keys in my pocket to my white truck I was in. The rest of it go back there. You know? So he take the keys out of my pocket. And there was a couple more agents outside. So he was just like, hey, search it. So I had one of them old book bags with all the dope in there. They go out there and they give each other high five.
I know how to do it.
So they was like, man, it was a DEA agent named Rocky. They were so high and intrigued on going to find some money that they like, we're gonna leave him over here with you. You know, they had me handcuffed, we're gonna leave him over here with you. We're gonna go here to tear his house up, see what he got. So as we were sitting down, the girl, once everything had kind of like calmed down, the girl whose shop I was at, who was a true friend of mine to this day, you know, she was standing out there, she was asking the investigator a question like, okay, how did y'all get up on him? He said, man, we've been following him for 6 months. I said, I told her right then, I said, he lying. I said, he was following me for 6 months, what he asked me where the dope come from. Okay? I said, one of their informers had called him and put him in the game. So as it was time, you know, they was over at the house, they was transporting me to their little interrogation place out of town. So as we was riding, he was still asking me questions, man, you don't want to help yourself? Help myself, how? Yeah, tell me where it came from. I said, you been watching me for 6 months, you tell me. Yeah. So I've been up there, man, for like an hour or two. So I'm trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. How did these cats get up on me? This and that. By that time, the dude that worked down here, he comes in. They bring him in. He has some marijuana on it. Yeah. And when he walked through the door, the light came on with me. I said, hey man, who they kept calling you for that man house? And he told me who it was. And prior to that, a girl had called me some months earlier, man. She was like, hey man, every time your boy gets some work for you, he come over here, you bragging about how good it is, how it come back and this and that. Yeah. The dude he selling it to the police, man. His phone bugged and stuff. So I go back to my boy, I say, hey man, leave that dude alone. He ain't good for it. Leave him alone. But he went behind my back and dealt with the dude. So like I said, when he walked through the door that night and the light came on and I'm asking him, he tell me, I put the puzzle together. That's who it was. That's who it was.